Late Night Health continues. I'm Mark Allen, along with the insane Daryl Wayne. We're going to go to Houston, Texas. We're going to talk with Dr. Arturo Hernandez, who's going to reveal to us at least some of the 6 secrets to building your brain power. I think that people who are 45, maybe 50 plus, are always worried about things like, what was that word I was thinking about? What was the name of that restaurant we went to just a week ago? I just met, he's Joe. I can't think of Joe's real name. We'll find out more about that with Dr. Hernandez, who is a cognitive psychology professor at the University of Houston. The book is called, by the way, How Learning Transforms Our Brains, Minds, and Bodies. Dr. Hernandez, welcome to Late Night Health.
Thank you so much, Mark and Daryl. It's great to be here.
In the book, the title, How Learning Transforms Our Brains, Minds, and Bodies. Are our brains and minds different?
Excellent question. I ask myself that every day, and my answer varies. What I would say is there are 2 ways to think about the mind. The first would be to think about it like a computer. So a lot of people think about storage. You have a hard drive, you have your long-term memory, you have your RAM, your short-term memory. People have used this computer model for our minds for many decades. But we can also think about it like a brain, and a brain is more of an organic thing, right? So the way I think about it myself, and what I've settled on after all this time, is that basically our minds are a product of our brain activity, of our bodily activity, and so it's a product of a physical thing that we experience. But we experience it differently than we do other things on our bodies.
Can we, at any age, learn? I mean, I have long fingers, but I have no musical ability at all. Can I learn to play the piano?
Of course you can. Now, the question people ask me sometimes is, can I learn to play the piano right? And what I always answer is, you can learn to improve at playing the piano. And in my book, Mastery: How Learning Transforms Our Brains, Minds, and Bodies, the discussion really is about this idea of taking small little steps, right? Little mini skills, and weaving them together into a larger skill. So my answer would be, yes, you can learn to play the piano. And what you would do, my recommendation would be to start with really small little exercises that help to leverage and eventually become something bigger.
The kid across the street from where I live has a baby grand and is we've gone to a couple of concerts. He's 16, 17 years old. He's a master. Talk about mastery. He is, I have, as I said, no ability, but will the brain allow me to at least be able to perform to a certain level, whatever the level that is?
Sure. I mean, the thing about our brains, right? You have to think about what we can do. So a lot of people focus on a particular skill, one single thing people can do, right? Play chess, play piano, do whatever it is, right? The point, I think, of being human is that our brains can do so many things. They're so flexible, right? And so we can learn new things as long as we are alive. We are forming new memories. We're learning new skills. They're changing across time. And so, yes, I would answer that, yes, absolutely, you can learn to play. Now, again, the question is, play like whom? And my answer would be, play better than you did yesterday, and day after tomorrow, play better than you do tomorrow. That I think will happen.
Whenever I think of the brain, I think of, in my introduction, I was thinking of everybody loses a word here and there. You're talking and all of a sudden you can't remember a word. A friend of mine came from another country, and he went back after 5 or 6 years, and he was passing food around at a surprise party for him. He couldn't remember the English word for apple, or it was the Hebrew word for apple. and he couldn't remember it, so he called it Apple. All of his friends teased him. He was 24 years old at the time. This happens to everybody, doesn't it?
Yes, word finding issues happen to everybody. I mean, the difference I think is, people laugh at 24 and people worry at 74. But the point is, everybody
They,
has,
I worried at 54. Okay.
everybody has, I mean, and rightfully so, but everybody has times where that word just doesn't come into their minds. That's completely normal.
Dementia, Alzheimer's, and back to dementia again. Can your book help prevent dementia and Alzheimer's? Can anybody learn to improve their brain even when they have these terrible diseases?
Yeah, I mean that's a really critical question facing a lot of the population. I personally am not a dementia expert. My book is not designed to address those types of issues. Those issues are ones that are addressed by a number of experts in the field, and I'm not one of. That's not my particular area of specialty. What I would say though is that anyone, right, can use the types of approaches that I discuss in this book to improve at a skill. But again, recognizing that I'm not an expert in dementia, that's beyond what I would be able to advise people about. And I would advise them to go talk to a doctor or to a specialist.
Right. Well, you are a doctor, but not that kind of doctor. I get it. The learning new things. I mean, we've talked to the people at the Alzheimer's Foundation, for example, and learning new things can help um, uh, people with these ailments. But even people who don't have dementias of any kind, can learning a new skill, like a new language or playing tennis for the first time, can these help boost brain power?
Absolutely. I mean, I think when, we have to sort of think about, I think what a lot of us like to do is we like to practice things we're already good at. And there's value in that. I think there's a value in practicing things and doing things that we're really good at. But what we know from brain science is when we do a new thing, a lot of brain areas have to fire up that are involved in decision making, involved in effortful processing. And when those areas fire up, right, they essentially help to improve our brain's ability and our mind's ability to do more difficult tasks. So there is a value in learning something new because our brain is going to have to work a little bit harder for this new task. And like any other organ, right, working the brain a little bit harder can lead to benefits.
Can lead to benefits?
Yes.
What are those benefits?
The benefits are, of course, when you learn something new, you have to engage the sort of conscious areas of your brain, the ones that are involved in trying to decide if you're going to do one thing or another. So, for example, the example I like to give now is they keep changing the lights, right? So the lights on the street, now they have a right arrow, a left arrow, and a middle one. And so now when I
Yes.
have to get to a light, I don't know if you've noticed that, I have to look more carefully at which of those arrows is pointing, right? Which of those arrows is green, which one's red. And so my decision making is harder, and that in a way sharpens my mind when I'm driving to pay attention to the lights more clearly. So when you make something a little bit harder, it makes you pay more attention, and that can lead to the benefit of then paying more attention, which is
And
a
that's like exercising your brain. We're going to
exactly.
take a time out, and when we come back, we'll continue. Our guest is Dr. Arturo E. Hernandez. The book is Mastery: How Learning Transforms Our Brains, Minds, and Bodies. We're going to take some time out. We encourage you to visit us at latenighthealth.com. Latenighthealth.com. We'll have a picture of Dr. Hernandez up there and a link to how to get his book. Don't go away, more coming up. Late Night Health is proud of our partnership with the EBC, the Evolutionary Business Council. Check them out at ebcouncil.com.
You're listening to Late Night Health with Mark Allen. The show continues in a moment.
Recently, I met Jacqueline from Bright here in Los Angeles. She gave me a hearing exam and then showed me how to hear again with the new Signia Pure Series hearing aids, and she can give you your life back too. I hear birds chirping, birds cooing, and even my wife. They easily connect to my smartphone. The Signia hearing aids are amazing, and with the charge and go, I don't have to fiddle with batteries and hear all day long. Not hearing is frustrating for you and your family. I know you don't have a problem, but trust me, call Bright Here now for a free hearing exam, a $125 value, yours free, just for making an appointment now. There are offices throughout the Los Angeles area. Call Bright Here now at 323-424-7100. That's 323-424-7100 for a free hearing exam. There's no obligation. Call now, 323-424-7100, or visit them on the web at brighthere.com.
If you're listening to Late Night Health right now, you're part of the growing target of baby boomers we're serving. Hi, I'm Daryl Wayne, producer of Late Night Health, inviting you to join the Late Night Health family. If you have any business targeting the growing boomer market, Late Night Health is the ideal advertising vehicle for you. From vitamins to insurance, alternative health to Western-style medicine, Late Night Health caters to the growing population of those over 40 years old. This vibrant demographic has expendable income to fight aging, purchase travel, take care of aging parents, or just have fun. Find out about the advertising opportunities with Late Night Health. Call us at 805-391-0308. That's 805-391-0308, or email us at info@latenighthealth.com. That's info@latenighthealth.com. Join Late Night Health as we empower people to take charge of their own health care. Call now at 805-391-0308. That's 805-391-0308. Sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Words are a critical aspect of success. How you get your point across is a crucial part of what makes anything sell. So do it right and hire a writer. Whether it's articles, blog posts, technical writings, website content, product descriptions, or ghostwriting anything from a novel to a nonfiction book about your navel, contact Servet Hassan. If you want it to sell, write it right. Email Servet at servet@servethassan.com.
It's time to tackle a tough topic, one that affects us all. We're talking about sexism in the workplace. The award-winning Identifying the Elephant in the Room series is back and ready to tackle some complicated communications issues again. This spring, we're focusing on critical communication strategies in the face of sexism. Join us as we hear from professionals in the natural products industry who have valuable career lessons to share and real-world experience to discuss from all sides of the elephant. It's time to have an honest and open conversation about the impact of sexism in the workplace and how we can make it better for everyone. Identifying the Elephant in the Room series starts March 16th. Register today at inicibox.vfairs.com. That's INICIBOX.VFAIRS.com, and join the conversation to be part of the solution. Late Night Health continues. I'm Mark Allen along with the insane Daryl Wayne. Visit us at latenighthealth.com. That's latenighthealth.com. Our guest is Arturo E. Hernandez. He's a Dr. Hernandez. He's a cognitive psychology professor. He's written a book called Mastery: How Learning Transforms Our Brains, Minds, and Bodies. Let's talk about a cognitive psychologist. I had a professor I mentioned during our break. He was a rat runner. Okay, that's how he described himself. He would do experiments with rats, which I always found icky because I didn't want to touch them. But what's a cognitive psychologist?
Cognitive psychologist looks at the science of the mind, right? So how we use language, how we pay attention, how we remember, how we make decisions. We look at sort of the inside mental machinery that goes in behind the scenes when people are doing those things, reading as well. That's what a cognitive psychologist does. I also use brain science as well, although I'm not a rat runner. I'm a human runner, but essentially we put humans in MRI machines, souped up MRI machines that allow us to look at brain activity indirectly.
Are those noisy machines like when they do my knee?
I think they may be even noisier because the knee. I've had also a knee MRI, and that was actually quite pleasant compared to we have to put earmuffs in. They're really, really loud because they run really, really fast.
And MRIs are magnetic, aren't they? They're
Yes.
wow. So are you still doing that? Are you still working on research?
Yeah, I mean, I still am. I started in basically 1997 when this technology just came afloat and available to us. And I still sit in MRI and I'm still amazed that we can run this machine and look at what brain activity is happening inside somebody's head. It's pretty amazing.
And when you're looking at it, you're seeing, I guess, uh, parts of the brain that light up and parts of the brain that don't light up.
Yeah, so it's called functional MRI, functional magnetic resonance imaging. It basically takes a correlate of blood flow. So when the neurons, the brain cells fire, blood is drawn to that area. And so the MRI machine can pick up the changes in the oxyhemoglobin, deoxyhemoglobin, basically the oxygenation, how oxygen rich is the blood being drawn to that area is picked up by an MRI machine. So it's a correlate of brain activity. It's not brain activity itself.
In the book, you give some tips, and I said that you'd give us some tips. There are people who have rituals. Okay, they're walking down the street and they have to hit each break in the sidewalk. It's a ritual, which may or may not be mentally healthy, as I understand it. I am not a psychologist at all. I barely have a brain, as some people would say. But um, uh, is there a difference between a ritual and a routine? Getting up in the morning, brushing your teeth would seem to me to be a routine. But if you brush your teeth and count 1, 2, 3, 4, and you have to brush your teeth 45 times on the left side and then 45 on the right, and if somebody interrupts you, you have to start over again. Any
Yeah, I
comment?
mean, I think the question we always have to ask ourselves is, right, I mean, we're capable of a lot of flexibility. And I think that rituals, routines can be really helpful because they allow us to do things in a sort of disciplined kind of way. And they may be things that maybe we don't like to do. So brushing your teeth could be one. And so a ritual or routine can help you. The problem, of course, occurs when that ritual becomes or that routine becomes so um, inflexible that it has to be done a certain way no matter what, right? And so that can be problematic when it starts to interfere with daily functioning. I think that would be the sort of answer, is that does it interfere with daily functioning or not? If it doesn't, then I think it's fine. If it starts to interfere, then that can be a problem. But again, that
Inter-
would yeah,
interfere with life,
exactly.
right? If you don't get that done, you have a terrible day. If you don't,
Right. And so I think a healthy routine or ritual is one that is done, but it is has a flexibility to be done maybe not 45 times, but this time I'll do 15 times or 10 times. I may count. It doesn't have to be a specific number in a specific order all the time.
and if you do the quadrants, different four quadrants of your mouth, do you always do it the same? If you tie your shoelaces, I mean, I was thinking about this. I always tie my shoes, my right foot. I don't know why I do it. I just do. But it's mindless. It's rote.
Yeah, and I mean, I think routines and rituals say, I mean, that, they call it automatic, us cognitive psychologists call it automatic processing, or what they call procedural memory. Some people call it motor memory. These are the things that happen in the background that are offline that we don't have to think about. There are lots of them going on, and we don't really want to spend a lot of energy on them as long as they're functional and they help us, then it's fine. I mean, my example would be I used to love to actually eat my food in segments. And my wife would comment on this. Naomi Medel Hernandez, my wife, would comment on this. And so what I did is I started to force myself to eat, mix up where how I was eating my food on purpose.
So
Just
a bite of meat and a bite of vegetables rather than finishing all the vegetables, moving on to the meat and then the potatoes, and got it.
you're like me, except I do the potatoes. I would do the meat at the end when I was a little kid.
Oh, okay.
Save the best for
I
last.
always pass on the potatoes. I don't know why. I'm not a potato guy. What in our remaining couple of moments, can you give us one or maybe two tips on how to master a new skill? What we should do? Whether it's playing the piano like I mentioned earlier, or if you really want to drive people crazy, learning how to play the drums. What should the steps be?
I mean, I think one tip I think for sure is start small, right? So I would really advise people. I know that we see people do these, incredible now. The Roland Garros, the French Open is on TV. I'm a tennis player, and you see these tennis players, and you're like, oh wow, I want to go out and play like them, and that's very inspiring. But I think we also have to realize in the background of those tennis players and the people who've done really, really well is that they spend a lot of time working on really small skills up until actually, pretty old, even 17, 18 in their 20s, even as pros, they still work on these small skills. So I would really emphasize to people, start small, start on the small little skills that you can do. Things that are achievable, feel like every day is you've achieved something small, as small as it may be. I would
It's
start
spring
small.
training, back to basics.
Exactly.
It's
That would be tip one.
tip.
I think the other tip that's sometimes not thought about is, do you enjoy this, right? Try to find some joy, some enjoyment. There was a famous psychologist called Mikhail Csikszentmihalyi who wrote a book called Flow. And he found that people who did really well at tasks would lose themselves in the task. And I feel that a lot of times it's hard. It's not going to happen every time. But we should try to seek those moments where we kind of lose ourselves in something that's just really small. It'll happen to me sometimes when I'm playing tennis against the wall. I'm just working on something really small, and I just lose myself for a moment. And I'm like, wow, I'm really enjoying this. This is really exciting and nice. And I think that finding that flow is really important because it'll help us to keep improving.
Well, it's interesting because while I'm interviewing, I often lose myself, and then wake up and realize I should be asking a question. We are out of time, Doctor. Thank you very much for joining us, Dr. Arturo Hernandez. The book is called Mastery: How Learning Transforms Our Brains, Minds, and Bodies, and it's available on Amazon wherever you buy good books. Doctor, again, thank you very much. Daryl, thank you very much for what you do,
My pleasure.
which is keeping me straight and going forward. And I thank you for watching, listening at home. Have a good week, everybody. Have a great week. Most importantly, have a healthy week. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.